Hi, this is Ronnie with Plan to Eat, and this is a short clip from our Summer Ready Summit that happened at the end of May 2026. The goal of the summit was to help families prepare for the busy and unpredictable schedule that can happen in the summer. So, our speakers focused on different meal planning strategies, how to avoid picky eating, best practices for grocery shopping to save money, as well as meal prep and other things. So, we're sharing these clips with you to help you have an idea of what the summit was about and learn a little bit of what the audience learned at our Summer Ready Summit. There's a link in the description to learn more about the speaker in this clip, and we hope you enjoy.
Hi, Debbie. I'm so excited to talk to you today. Let's just jump right in. What do you see as the
Okay.
biggest hurdle to cooking at home?
I think that from what I hear from clients is time is probably the biggest one. Number two is they're in a food rut, bored with what they're cooking. And number three is lack of confidence. They always say lack of ability, but I don't really believe that. I think it's more lack of confidence.
What are the most important cooking basics that can make weeknight meals easier?
So, if you're talking about ingredients, I would say some type of grain or pasta, um, a can of beans or something that you like. These are just like things that are quick. And having your kind of go-to spices on hand is very helpful. So I've always got smoked paprika, garlic powder, crushed red pepper. I mean, let's just say those are the basics at a bare minimum. Salt. Having a few things that you can just throw into a pot, maybe your favorite jar of marinara sauce.
What types of meals or cooking methods work best during the summer months?
I don't know if this is obvious, but grilling for sure keeps your house cool. It's a much faster way of cooking. But let's say you're not really into the grill. I'd say invest in an air fryer because again, it's quicker than your oven. It heats up a lot faster, um, and it makes everything taste good.
This next question kind of ties these last three together. If someone wants to become more confident in the kitchen, where should they start? And then I think kind of tying in like what they should keep at home, those basics, kind of try to tie that in if you can for us so that they can have some good ideas on being confident and having some like basic skill sets.
Okay, so for basic skill set in terms of cooking and following a recipe, I think that being prepared is like the first thing. So obviously you guys are all about that and planning. Um, Knowing what you're making, reading the recipe in full, like knowing exactly what ingredients you need, what needs to happen with those ingredients, and then reading through all of the directions would really help. Um, I totally lost my train of thought. What was the question again?
So the basic question is if someone wants to become more confident in the kitchen, where should they start? And I was just
Okay.
hoping you could connect that to those like things they keep at home to kind of make those meals easier.
Okay. Um, so I think also practicing. So taking a recipe and trying it multiple times because the first time might be harder. And knowing like what to put in when and that whole dance of cooking that doesn't necessarily come naturally to people. And then tying it in, I feel like having a few go-to recipes. So having a few go-to recipes that match what's in your pantry. So stocking your pantry for those recipes would be very helpful.
What are your go-to recipes? Like what do you stock in your pantry? What are your go-tos?
Well, you heard my
Yes.
main spices, I would say. I always have some sort of ground chicken or ground turkey in my fridge. or if I don't have it, that's always on my list to get from the store. Some type of rice. I'm kind of lean more into white rice lately just because it cooks so much faster. Kind of did away with my rice cooker because it was kind of not coming out perfect, and I can do better job on the stove top. So quick cooking rice would be white rice. And like a go-to recipe for me would be like a quick weeknight bolognese, or like a like a Mexican flavored ground meat to go with like an easy kind of, could be a taco night, it could be like over rice, or it could be that meat stuffed into, what I'm really into lately is stuffing it into like a roasted squash. So like something that is like a vessel, like a little boat, and it could be a zucchini, it could be like a delicata squash. Um, and also that meat can go over a salad. So like that is like the versatility that I like, and having a couple of ingredients on hand and being able to use it multiple ways.
I love that. It's great. What are a few simple habits that you think make cooking easier and faster?
Well, using my Plan to Eat app. No, I'm serious. Planning is like the biggest thing that you can do for yourself to make it easier. There's nothing worse than being hungry and being stressed and not having a plan, because it's the frustration, and that's why people say they're not good in the kitchen. It's because they're not prepared. So having your ingredients on hand ready to go, knowing exactly what you need to do for your recipe, maybe assuming that's going to take you a little bit more time than it says on the recipe, and then being very methodical about what you do in that recipe and while you're preparing your meal, prepping out your ingredients before you actually start the cooking process is a really huge way of helping out, like just making it a lot smoother. Like it shouldn't be stressful. Like I want people to relax and enjoy themselves in the kitchen.
What do you think are some common mistakes that beginners make that can make cooking feel way harder than it needs to be?
I think I've touched upon them, but maybe, being overly ambitious. Aside from like not planning and not reading the recipe and not doing all those things, I think maybe being overly ambitious, like, wanting to make like, I don't, not that it's really hard, but like something that involves maybe bread or pasta making. Like you don't need to be doing that. Use like store-bought pasta, totally fine. Even if you want fresh, go buy it from the store fresh. But going with something simple would be the best way. And in order to figure out what that is, maybe looking through cookbooks and looking online is challenging. Ask a friend for their favorite weeknight meal, and that should be something that should be easy enough to tackle.
Do you have any go-to? Um, this question is a little bit on the topic of like the buying the pasta made like fresh at the store or buying pre-made pasta. Do you have other go-to items like that that you utilize in your kitchen to make those meals come together faster?
For ingredients, I'm more of like a go to the store and get everything fresh, but like salsa,
Mm.
definitely like I know how to make marinara sauce, but I gravitate towards a jar of marinara sauce. I just find it a lot easier to for like a quicker meal to do something like that. Um, so can I drop a brand? Would that
Oh
be
yeah,
okay?
of course. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So I love Victoria brand for marinara sauce. I just think it tastes like the closest to my grandmother's. And it's like clean, like in terms of doesn't have a lot of stuff in it. And I would say if you're looking for jars of sauce, just look for ones that don't have a lot of ingredients and don't have sugar in them.
Mm.
It's
That's great.
unnecessary. Yeah.
Mhm. How do you create an unforgettable experience with food? And you could tell us that from a beginner and then above and beyond that.
Well, I think creating like excitement around what you're making. So, um, today I was like, all I keep seeing are the viral um, like uh, one pan dumplings that have been all over the internet. And I was like really excited to make them. I did a riff on them, of course, like just because there's not a lot of recipes. It's just like watching somebody make it in a video. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna take this piece from my recipe and then I'm gonna throw this in. And I did it with rice paper. Just being excited about making something new, or maybe it's something old, but that everybody is really interested in eating, I think makes for a really unforgettable experience. And then for me, like as more of an advanced cook, I would say getting inspiration from, something that you maybe haven't made before, but something that you've eaten when you've traveled or dined out at your local restaurant, and trying to recreate it at home always gets me excited.
The same for me, just thinking about experiences I've had at restaurants and then trying to recreate it and those flavors.
Mhm.
You do a lot of traveling, a lot of food-based traveling. Can you tell
I
us about
do.
one experience that is just like top of mind that was unforgettable for you?
Ooh, that's a hard one. There's so many, so many. I would say, um, we have Michelin dining in the US, and then there's Michelin dining outside of the US, and it's very different. It's way more accessible financially to go and dine in a non-US based Michelin restaurant. And so those types of things get me excited in terms of having that experience. And I was just in Madrid for personal travel, and we ate at, it was called Ravio XO, and it was a Asian inspired, like kind of dumpling and noodle place. And it was a one Michelin star sister restaurant of a three Michelin star restaurant. And we had a beautiful meal, and everything was like every bite was just a surprise, like things that you don't normally eat, things that I wouldn't have ordered off of the menu, that the server was like, you have to try this, this, and this. And I'm like, okay, we're doing what she says. And, kind of being taken care of, but not in a stuffy way. Um, that was great. And on the flip side, because I can go really high end or I can go, kind of more street food. Being in Malaga for a month in Spain, it's the culture is very much about churros and chocolate on Sundays. So that was our Sunday ritual. This tiny little hole in the wall place. That's all they did was make this one thing, and it's going to be good if they just specialize in one thing. And oh my gosh, I can still taste it.
Your entire demeanor changed when you started talking about food, and it makes me so happy because I like that's the kind of energy I want to bring into my home cooking experience for people is like that excitement, like, oh, yeah, I had this thing and it was, I can't even tell you, I'm drooling right now. Like,
Yeah, I'm a destination diner. Like I will drive somewhere far for food, or I will fly somewhere and build a whole trip around the food experience.
that is awesome. All right. What is one thing you wish that more people knew about cooking?
That it's not that hard, that it can be enjoyable. I know cooking feels like a chore because cooking has to be done on a regular basis. It doesn't have to be daily, typically. Um, so if it feels hard, you know, don't feel like you need to make everything from scratch. There are things that make it easier, like the jarred sauce, like the dried pasta, like the canned beans. Do not feel like you need to soak your beans overnight. And like, when people get into that mindset, it's overwhelming and daunting. Like, just take it little bits at a time. I would start with a couple of recipes that you really enjoy and just make them over and over. There's nothing wrong with that, of repeating and having a few go-to things that make things really easy in the kitchen. It should not be complicated.
All right, we're going to move into a lightning round. So I want you to give us your top threes. We have several on this list. What are your top three kitchen gadgets? I know you've mentioned some things already, but Top 3 kitchen gadgets.
Okay. Aside from the necessary knife and cutting board, I love a meat chopper that you can use to make ground meat in a frying pan because I use that on a regular basis. I love a mini measuring cup, which is a quarter cup measure because it's really great for liquid measurements of 1 to 4 tablespoons that are challenging on the little spoon. And I really love my microplane grater. I use it for multiple things, not just citrus and zesting or, it's always out. I have 3 of them actually in rotation.
Love that. Top 3 cooking skills to learn first.
How to hold a knife properly, how to dice an onion, because I feel like onion is the base of a lot of recipes. Um, I think just in general, how to work with vegetables. Vegetables are challenging, the round vegetables, making it safe and that sort of thing. And I mean, there's so many other things. Sauteing, but like not sauteing in like a fancy way, but just like temperature wise and how much fat to put in the pan.
Make it a top 6. Let's go. Let's go 2 more.
I don't think it's necessary, but people love boiled eggs. So like how to boil an egg and what type of doneness you like. Also how to scramble eggs. That's another low and slow. Low and slow is like the key. You don't want to have it all burnt and just like tight and hard.
Definitely not. All right, top 3 or more beginner friendly meals. I know you've mentioned several already, so feel free to expand upon those
Okay.
add more to the list.
Okay. Well, like I said, big fan of the ground meat. Ground meat can be flavored in many different ways. So, I love a taco bar. I think that's great for picky eaters and people can build their own thing, but then having that meat used in other ways. So, I love bowls. So anything that has like a ground meat and a grain as the base of the bowl. So I do a lot of like Asian inspired bowls, like a Korean inspired ground meat with pickled vegetables is great. And then lastly, give me a meatball and I'm happy. If you can see my background, both of those meals are on the front cover of my books are meatball dishes because meatballs are easy to make. They're perfect to portion. They cook fast and you can flavor them in any way you want.
Top 3 favorite flavors.
Ooh, this is hard. I find that like my open table suggests Italian food all the time, which is funny because I'm like, that's how I started cooking because my grandmother was Italian, but at the same time, I'm like, do I gravitate towards Italian food? And I think I might when I look back at like where I dine. Um, Asian flavors and Mexican. Oh, and then okay, let's go. Let's just say it's not just Italian but Mediterranean because I've got like Greece in there too. I like love those like fresh flavors.
I love how you made that worldwide almost.
I hit
I
everywhere.
love I love all flavors. Okay, so for our more advanced people who are listening, what is your number one place for them to travel for food?
I didn't know this question was coming. Oh no.
Surprise.
Um, okay. Can I give you 2?
Of course.
I'm going to go Italy because I think Italy has the variety of food, even though it's got the same base, is so different all over the country. So you can go in every region of Italy and try something new. Bologna being my top part of the country for food, and then Japan. Japan. If you go to Japan, it will ruin you for uh, sushi and wagyu beef and anything that you might eat outside of Japan, or at least in the US, I'll have to say.
Awesome. That's excellent. Thank you so much for your time, Debbie.
Thank you. This was fabulous.